Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Amber Unfiltered. Today I'm going to be telling you guys why I feel, okay, hear me out first before I start. I feel like Jurassic Park could be classified as a horror film, but before I do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to cash out me at Amber Unfiltered Show, that'd be greatly appreciated. First and foremost, I hope you guys enjoyed your snow day. I hope you guys got to snuggle up under some blankets. I hope you got to bed rot, couch rot. I hope you got to have some hot cocoa. I hope you just got to chill out, relax. I think everyone just needed this day to just reset. There's a lot going on just in people's personal lives, just in the world, and I think a lot of us just needed a collective like a woosah moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Girl, I didn't do shit. I didn't shovel nothing. I laid in bed all day and it was fucking fantastic. And I was like, this is the perfect lazy day. And at first I was like, why do we say lazy day? I was like, there's nothing lazy about rest. So I was like, I'm going to be mindful about using like a different word or a different adjective, like maybe a chill day or a quiet day or a relaxed day. I was like, I'm going to try to be more intentional about that because I think rest is very productive. I know we live in a world that doesn't believe that, but I personally think it's a great thing. I think it helps recalibrate. I think it helps give you more juice, like to keep going, whether it's on work, whether it's if you're an artist, whether just if you're a family person, family man, family woman, whatever the case may be. I think it's very helpful to just help you function on the day to day. I recently learned that bad sleep or poor sleep actually causes inflammation in the body. And again, I'm not a provider or a licensed doctor or anything like that, but I recently learned it from my dietitian. And I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense and why it can cause all sorts of ailments and issues on the back end because the upfront, like the system itself, the nervous system or whatever up front is being damaged or not inflamed, what word was I gonna, compromised. So I think there, it kind of has, it's like a cause and effect type of thing. But anyway, I don't know, child. So I was watching Jurassic Park yesterday and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is a horror movie, bro. Like, I know horror has like a lot of people see horror through like one lens, but I think it doesn't have to be outright horror or have all the elements of horror to be considered horror. I'm finding that horror can be more subtle. Horror can be the unsaid, that uncertainty, that dread, that suspense, that in between. I feel like it can cross so many lines, it doesn't really have one definition or one look or aesthetic. But I was watching it yesterday. I said, girl, I know you motherfucking lying. First of all, y'all would have been dying because of the commentary that I was yelling at the TV. My husband was so weak. He was just laughing at me like, are you okay, girl? And I was like, definitely fucking not. So anyway, let me get into my argument. I didn't take any notes, but I'm trying to think of where I even started. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how this conversation or this idea for this video came about. So I'm chilling in the bed. I ain't doing shit. I was like, I'm gonna get up. Girl, I ain't get up. I laid in that bed for like all day, like a whole business shift or work shift. So I'm laying there. I'm like, okay, cool. I see that Jurassic Park is on the guide. I'm like, okay, because we use my mom's YouTube TV account. Shout out to my mom because I was like, I'm not paying $70 a month for that. But I was like, with the way they're raising the streaming prices or streaming services prices, I was like, girl, it's gonna be neck and neck. But anyway, remember when streaming was like affordable? I was like, now we're all just inflation. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And I was like, okay. I was like, this movie, first of all, let me start by saying too, this movie has a lot of nostalgia for me because I grew up watching this, and I have two brothers, but the one that I mostly grew up with, which is my biological brother, because I told y'all I'm adopted, he was the one that I would always watch movies with. We loved movies. That was like our love language. Our dad got us into it. Then we became like really obsessed. And then me and him would watch a lot of movies together. And we're always texting about movies even to this day. And he works in the entertainment industry. So it's like a big thing. And I'm an artist myself. So I was like, huh. So I remember like we would always watch it. We had like a little set thing. It was so cute. We were so bad. We were so bad. Like not bad, but bad. So I remember seeing it. I don't remember like the details. I don't know if I went to the theater or waited till it came out on DVD or whatever, but we had like a little routine. In the summer when we got old enough, probably like 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, our parents were like, oh, you know how to do stuff for yourself? We were very self-sufficient as kids. Like our parents were on our asses about like learning how to cook, cleaning up after yourself, just keeping your surroundings orderly. So in the summer when we stopped going to camp, we used to go to this Christian camp by our house in Maryland. Once we stopped going there, our parents were like, you're old enough to stay home. You can like cook little basic meals. They trusted us to stay home. And I know, childcare is expensive. So we used to stay home and I would, this was so weird, but I would make white rice. I love white rice. That's like my favorite thing. I feel like a lot of black people love rice. Shout out to us because I think also there's a historical context because a lot of our ancestors planted grains and rice was one of those grains. But anyway, so I would make minute rice because that was like one of the easiest things I knew how to make. And I would fuck up some rice in a heartbeat. Like I literally would just eat it by itself and that's a meal for me. And I would put like soy sauce, butter, salt. That's so problematic because it's so salty, right? But anyway, so I would do that. And then, you know, like the steak-um meat, like the frozen steak-um meat that comes in like the red box with the black and white lettering. I'm really telling my age right now. But anyway, so I would make that and I would chop it up and put it on top and make like a little, you know, fake teriyaki bowl or whatever. And then when my brother would eat it, we would always pick out a movie. We would look on the guide and we would pick a movie together. And Jurassic Park, especially the first one and the third one, which I still stand by the allegations is the best one. But anyway, we would look on the guide, we would pick a movie, we would like always have it around the same time, like between 12 and 2 o'clock when our parents would be at work. And this was the bad part. So we had a guest bedroom. Even though we had TVs and stuff downstairs, I think we really weren't supposed to be watching a whole lot of TV. Our parents had restrictions on that, which I think is actually smart. But like for instance, when we would come home from school, we were supposed to do our homework and then we could watch TV. But by the time you do all your chores, you're eating, you're doing your schoolwork, there's no time for TV or there's like very little time. I actually really like that rule and I want to do some variation of it with our kids so that they're not completely dependent on the TV or technology. But anyway, so where was I at? So this was one of those movies where we would look on the guide and we would like cook and prep the room. Okay, so we had a guest room and sometimes my parents would like sleep in there or like company would sleep in there. And it had a little TV and it had like a little what is it? Not DV. Yeah, DVR. We had direct TV. So we would sneak and watch TV. And we had like a little system where we would write the channel. Wow, I'm really going to snitch on myself and my brother. I hope my dad does not see this because they probably already knew. They probably knew by looking at the bill. But we would write down what the last two channels were. And we would have, you know how you could toggle between two channels? So we would leave like the last one on that my dad or whoever had last watched it. So then we could just toggle back and forth because we would hear our parents come through the garage. There was like a certain noise and we would hurry up and then turn the TV off and act like we weren't watching it. So we were sneaking and doing whatever we wanted to do. But that was our thing. So we would go in the guest room. We would like set out blankets. We would have like Kool-Aid. Like it was like a little picnic, but in the guest bedroom. And this was one of those movies. And we just really love this movie. You know, I actually think they're really good movies. I think they're well shot. I think they're well acted. I think the storyline is very cohesive. I love the design of the dinosaurs. So anyway, I say all that to say, it brought back so many feels. I even text my brother. I was like, guess what I'm fucking watching? And he was like, the movie is the GOAT, like, period. So I'm like, okay, so I'm watching Jurassic Park 1 and I was like, oh my God, first of all, I was like the creator of the park or the financer of the park. I forget what his name was, the older white guy that looked like Colonel Sanders. I was like, he brings his grandkids here thinking that he's going to give them the vacation of a lifetime or, you know, the vacation of their dreams. And it turns into shit very quickly. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, this movie, one, is about family, you know, what you will do, what sacrifices you will make for your kid. I was like, Dr. Grant was treating the two kids, I don't remember their name, but they were my favorite. I think the child actors actually did a really, really great job. He was looking out for them like those were his kids, even though they weren't, and he had just met them. And I was like, number two, this movie is about cybersecurity. I was like, the one big guy that was like, he had that thing on his computer. He got compromised. He was pissed because he wasn't being compensated properly and thought if he stole, like, you know, he stole the dinosaur's DNA. But he was really upset, so he retaliated by making the park like he took away the security of the park, the physical safety of the park. And I was like, this movie is so ghetto. But what I was really concerned about was the kids, because I was like, okay, I was like, imagine seeing really cool things, genetically engineered dinosaurs. You thinking you're safe, you're in the comfort of like your little Jeep, your little caravan, whatever the case may be. And then you don't know that the park security has gone completely down and you're literally outrunning a fucking T-Rex. You have no chance in hell. I was like, it's a horror movie. And I was like, could you imagine seeing something that big, something that terrifying, something that like gigantic? I was like, oh my God, I would die. I think they captured the horror, the terror perfectly in this movie. Like to me, I was looking at this, I was like, what would I do if I was in that situation? There's no way I'm outrunning a T-Rex. There's no way I'm outrunning a Velociraptor. I think the setting too, they were very confined to the park. Like they were, you know, it was on an island, it's remote, it's secluded, it's away from civilization, it's away from modern civilization or access to, you know, escape or whatever the case may be, or help or rescue. And I was just like, this makes no sense. And then I don't know, it was just the rain, it being at night that this happens. You know, they don't have like really any weapons or anything to defend themselves. I felt really bad for the kids. Then they escape the first dinosaur and they just keep running into them. The scene with the velociraptors where she's like eating the jello and it's shaking, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I feel really bad for these kids, but the kids were not no punks. Like, I'll give them credit for that. I was like, oh my God. And even the score is really well done in Jurassic Park. But I was like, girl. And then I watched Jurassic Park 3 and it was the same thing. I was like, this is fucking terrifying. I was like, and then in Jurassic Park 3, they tricked the couple, William H. Macy's character and is it Taya Leone or something like that? The couple or the divorced couple tricks him and brings him to the island under the pretense of a honeymoon. But really, they're there to look for their child who got stranded on a remote island with dinosaurs. I was like, that is fucking horrifying to me. Like, what the hell? I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is a horror movie. I was like, why did I not see this? I was like, maybe I'm delusional, but I really do think so. I was like, maybe not, it doesn't cover all the basis of horror, but I was like, there is some horror blended in with that sci-fi, like fantastical world. But anyway, so I have a little, also I need to hurry up because I have therapy in like 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, but I have a little bit of wiggle room since it's virtual. Because it's raggedy ass snow. Also, I hate snow. Like, I think it looks really pretty, but I hate the after effect. Like, I think it's very dangerous to drive in, especially when it ices over. You know how it's like all hard and crunchy? I was like, physically, like, you can fall, you can bust your ass. I was like, I can't do it. My husband loves snow. I was like, really? That's the Caucasian in you coming out. I'm sorry. Like, I'm the melanated folk. Like, I'm allergic to anything that's not close to the equator, that's not hot, that's not warm, that's not giving me that bronze glow. It's not giving for me, babe. So let's talk about elements of horror in cinema. So it says horror cinema thrives on creating visceral fear and suspense through atmosphere, lighting, sound design, and thematic elements like the unknown or supernatural. Key components include mounting tension, which I definitely feel like was in Jurassic Park, sudden jump scares, and often a menacing villain or monster. I guess, could you say that the dinosaurs are, I don't want to outright call them the villain. I think it was some of the people that were actually the villains. I don't even want to say that the dinosaurs were monsters. They're just predators. I think there's a difference in that. Actually, yeah, let me look up what the difference is. Hold on, y'all. What is the difference between a monster and a predator? And like, you know, I would say a certain percentage of the dinosaurs didn't even eat people. So I think they were, you know, like the Brontosaurus or whatever. But then, you know, some of the other ones like the T-Rex or the Velociraptors might actually eat people. So it says the primary difference between a monster and a predator lies in intent, nature, and perception. While both can be dangerous killers, a predator is a natural organism fulfilling an ecological role. Yes, see, I think that is the difference. That makes a lot of sense. Whereas a monster is defined by abnormality, cruelty, or the violation of natural, cultural, or social norms. God, I can't talk. So here's the breakdown of the differences. One, predator, the ecological hunter. I feel like the hunting aspect and like the T-Rex and the more apex predators in the park, like it's embedded in them. It's ingrained in them. Like they don't know anything else. They're there for the hunt. The human is the huntee. So it says definition: an animal that hunts, kills, and consumes other animals or humans to survive. That's really what it's for. It's for nourishment. It's for sustenance. It's not because they just want to outright kill them. They need to eat. They need to thrive. They need to survive. Purpose: predators are part of the natural food chain and help maintain ecological balance. That's what I was going to say, like the order. There is a certain order and all things work in tandem in an ecosystem. Behavior: they typically kill for food or protection. And I could definitely see both because I guess in the predator's eyes, humans can definitely kill them. So it's like, I gotta kill or be killed, you know, that type of mentality. I can't believe I'm over here really explaining why dinosaurs would eat people. I'm sorry, y'all. So it says examples: lions, wolves, sharks. In fiction, the yautja predator is considered a predator because it is a sentient hunter that kills for sport or honor rather than just malice. Now I gotta look up what that is. I swear to God, I have the attention span of a squirrel. I've never heard of this yautja. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh, like Predator, like from Alien versus Predator. I had no idea what the hell that meant. I had to look that up. I'm sorry. Two, monster, the abnormality. Definition: a creature often defined by its abnormal, unnatural, or supernatural characteristics that provoke fear. Purpose: monsters are often depicted as malicious, cruel, or destructive, sometimes killing for reasons beyond simple survival. I feel like a monster, would Thanos be considered a monster? I don't know. he kind of toes that line. I don't know what I would describe him as outright. I don't know if I would describe him as a monster outright. I was trying to think of an example. I want to say Frankenstein's creature, but I don't think he was. I think he was just abused and perpetuating the cycle that was passed down to him. So I'm trying to think who would be a monster. I don't think Godzilla is either. Do you think King Kong would be? I feel like they get agitated and they respond. So I don't really want to call them monsters. Anyway, behavior. They are frequently perceived as wrong or unnatural within their environment. Examples: zombies, vampires, sea monsters, or a man-eating beast that terrorizes a community. So key distinctions: natural versus supernatural. Predators fit within a natural ecosystem. Monsters often violate nature. Ooh, I'm learning something here. E.g., magic, supernatural origins. Survival versus malice. A predator kills to eat. A monster may kill out of cruelty, a desire to cause fear, or irrational aggression. Perception. A creature is usually labeled a monster when it is misunderstood, terrifying, or threatens the safety of a community in an abnormal way. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like I kind of repeated myself, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So, okay, so let's go back to the elements of horror in cinema. So it says atmosphere and setting. Dark, shadowed, and confined locations create a sense of isolation and dread. Like you literally can't escape. And I think the park trapped them. Like it was supposed to be like paradise, but it really turned out to be, I don't even want to say hell. It turned out to be like their demise or like their confinement, their, what's a better word? It turned out almost to be a cage. They were caging the animals, but then the humans became caged as a result of the lack of security or the taking away of the security. So sound and music, high-pitched keys, creaking sounds, and unsettling iconic scores amplify fear. Visual techniques, use of unnatural lighting, e.g. uplighting, close-ups on intense emotions, and quick editing for sudden shocking jumps. The antagonist or the monster, a menacing, often supernatural or psychological force that drives the plot and represents the unknown. I don't know if there was really like a full-blown monster in Jurassic Park, but I definitely think some of the people that worked in the park, and even like we're going on these expeditions, like Billy in Jurassic Park 3, he was started out good. Like he was like Dr. Grant's protege or like mentee basically, and then he stole, did he steal the velociraptor eggs? I think it was. And then he kind of put all their lives in danger because they were basically being hunted because he stole. So to me, he's an antagonist because he's creating this tension and he's creating this creating a tension, creating a certain dynamic. He's creating this chase or be kill or be killed type of dynamic, and like he's creating like this chase, like the hunt basically. Because I think the dinosaurs might have still hunted, but maybe not been on their ass as much as they were. But then he thought he was justified because he was like, I'm doing it for research purposes, for money, for funding, like for the research. I think he thought he was justified, but he was secretive about it. And he didn't really tell anybody. And then he got discovered when it was too late, but then it came back to bite him late in the ass later in the movie. So narrative elements. Themes of helplessness, vulnerability, and the battle between good and evil, often featuring relatable protagonists. I do feel like there's a little bit of that in here. I don't know if there's necessarily a whole good versus evil in this movie, but I do think that the protagonists were very relatable and they were very human. Obviously, they are humans, but their humanity was on full display. I'm telling you, I really love those kids. The way the casting in this movie is actually perfect. I love Laura Dern as, I don't remember her name. I can look up the cast right now. Hold on. I don't want to be doing people like that. Jeff Goldblum played Ian Malcolm, who was like a scientist. Laura Dern played Ellie Sattler. I don't think I really knew any of their names. The only one I remember was Dr. Grant, really. Was she the sister? There were some other people in here too. Oh, Richard Attenborough played John Hammond. I remember Samuel L. Jackson was in here. Okay, so anyway, let me go back. And then it says subgenres in tropes. It says ranging from psychological thrillers and slasher films to found footage, each subgenre uses specific tropes like gore, monsters, or psychological twists. Effective horror cinema carefully balances these elements to keep the audience in a state of continuous manageable fear. I was actually in very deep fear for the kids. I was in very deep fear for the scientists because they thought that, this was like the chance of a lifetime. This was like their Willy Wonka. This was their golden ticket. They were all excited. They all had good intentions. They really embraced what the park was doing, like the mission and just like the outcome, like the creation of the dinosaurs and giving people a chance to explore nature and like kind of nurture that love of nature and that deep appreciation of nature. And then it quickly went left. And I was just thinking too, like, you're trying to outrun something that hasn't been alive for millions of years. That's actually really terrifying to me. It almost is like they didn't stand a chance, but they kind of used nature to their benefit. They kind of used it to their advantage. I don't know. I just really love the series. I really love the third one. The first one is really good, but I think the third one just has more heart to it to me. And I think because I used to watch that one more, I actually used to think that the third one was the first one. That's how much I played it. Like I just remember watching it all the time. I loved the little boy Eric who got like stranded on the island. I just love the concept of the third one. It just was really interesting. It was a very family, very human story. And I think I don't know. I just think that the creative direction was a little bit better. I think the dinosaurs and how they interacted with the humans was much more believable. And I like the beginning, the opening shot and like the opening sequences were just like beautifully done. I don't know. I just for some reason I have maybe more of an appeal for the third one. To me, these will always be the Jurassic Parks for me. I tried to watch the new ones with Chris Pratt and I couldn't get into it. I think that they were very, you know, this franchise is a Hollywood blockbuster. It's a big action flick. It's legendary IP, but I think that it was just, I feel like the movie was basically focused on making or turning Chris Pratt into a sex symbol. And I think it didn't have characters that I felt like I could root for. It felt very predictable and it wasn't as engaging as I think the original stories. Not to shit on them because they, you know, a whole crew and production worked on this. I don't want to shit on someone's work. But for me, it didn't really work. And it just felt like a remake that was kind of a little lazy or a little bit sloppy. It didn't really have any feel to it. It just felt very formulaic. And I would have preferred to see more story and more time and thought. You know, this is a huge franchise. People have grown up watching these movies. When did the first one come out? I gotta look it up. Hold on. Because I think, didn't this come out in the 90s? Yeah, it came out in 93. I was born in 94. So I've been watching these movies for upwards of 30 years. Like, you know, this is all, you know, this is all I know. This is what's familiar and feels like home to me. But I don't know. I just had to talk about it because I was like, oh my God, it is kind of a horror movie a little bit. I was wondering what you guys thought about this. Do you guys like Jurassic Park? Have you seen the old ones? Have you seen the new ones? Which one do you think stands up? Do you have a favorite Jurassic Park? Let me know. I love you guys and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.